I was wondering if I could come and see you sometime soon about two quite important areas. What I'd like to talk to you about is how quickly we can get the recommendations of the Commission discussed and then subsequently implemented.
You ready to roll, Eric? Okay.
Well, let's make sure our cameras are rolling, chappies. Would you describe yourself as a women's liberationist?
If you could tell me what you meant by it.
Well, I mean, you disagree with marriage, and as I understand it, you only just tolerate children.
Oh, on the contrary, I don't disagree with marriage and I love children.
What problems do you see with marriage?
I think that the institution sets up expectations in both the men and the women, the certain expectations about what the other person will be doing, that it is the man's responsibility to bring home the money and it's the woman's responsibility to keep the house tidy and to bring up the children. When I gave my first press conference on the first day of the job, the only questions I was asked were about abortion, prostitution, lesbianism, rape, and marijuana and so on. I was asked no questions about, what do you think is really the problem facing women in Australia? What do you intend to do in your job? The institution, I think, has problems.
It was utterly offensive and degrading and humiliating that they could say whatever they wanted. Liz Reid, 33, who doesn't wear a bra, said in Canberra today, or Liz Reid, 33, whose daughter doesn't live with her, said in Canberra today. I mean, they felt they had the right to do those sorts of things. And not just the male journos either. Some of them were women journos as well.
What have you actually achieved in the time since your appointment, or has the government relegated you to the position of token lady without any real power or influence?
The answer to the first one is very simple. I started out with relatively strong ideals and beliefs and opinions. I was sensationalised by the press, and I was depicted in lights that I found not only personally unacceptable, but which I found to be harmful to the job.
Women that I've spoken to after you've given a speech or had a talk with them are mostly on side, as far as I can see. They're also critical, aren't they? Things like, why doesn't she wear any makeup at all? So you better answer that one, I think.
No time to put it on? I don't know. I do not want my dress to alienate people, just as I do not want my manner to alienate people. I think the areas are so important, the problems are so important that I would hate to think that I either spoke aggressively and alienated people or dressed in a way that they couldn't cope with. So I have compromised all along the line. I even wear makeup on occasions. Obstinate men are called strong-willed. Obstinate women are called stubborn. Talkative men are called articulate, women garrulous. Better education for women, training and retraining, childcare, health facilities and so on, to bring those about for the majority of women, not just for the few.
Elizabeth Reid is 33, country born, a teacher's daughter, philosophy honours graduate, divorcee, part-time mother, and for 2 years and 4 months, representative at court for 6 million women. A representative the press was quick to mould into their own image.
When we came in, we started a definite program. There were various things in the lives of women that in all humanity had to be changed. Women had to have access to childcare facilities. Women had to have fair workforce conditions. They had to get paid a fair wage, and they had to have access to healthcare, the sort of healthcare they weren't getting. We are, of course, at present in an implementing stage, and what has to be done is to think out what next. And I really feel that I need a mountain and a bit of peace and quiet to do it in. And also I personally need a break. I need to get away and resuscitate and perhaps to refine whether or not as a person I still exist.
It was an amazing lesson for me, that I was suddenly thrust into a world where I could no longer think through arguments and answer questions honestly. I had to ask myself, what questions are they really asking, and how will my answer appear in the papers tomorrow? It was talk about baptism by fire or something.